I wasn't supposed to be there that night. You ever get a feeling in your gut like life is warning you in a whisper? That was me. I had every reason to stay home. I had a calc test Monday. My phone screen was cracked, and my mom had been nagging me to help clean out the garage all weekend. But Marco was persistent. He always was. It'll be chill, he said. Just you, me, and Ryan. Stars, fire, couple beers, no drama. Marco had a way of talking you into things. Loud, confident, always with that dumb, crooked smile that made you feel like whatever he was planning, it couldn't be that bad. Ryan was quieter, the kind of guy who reads conspiracy forums for fun and still listens to his music on an iPod Classic. Brilliant in a weird way. Obsessed with cold cases, shortwave radio, and the kind of UFO stories that make you double check your windows at night. So, naturally, he was all in. Me, I was the cautious one, the voice of reason, which is probably why I'm the only one left. Ridge Hill isn't marked on any maps, it's not technically public land. It sits just past the old quarry outside town where people used to say something bad happened. Drownings, disappearances, animal mutilations, you name it. Local kids dared each other to go up there, but no one ever camped. Marco had a beat-up green Jeep with missing back seats, and we loaded it up just before sundown, sleeping bags, snacks, speaker, flashlights. I noticed something weird. As we passed the quarry fence, the temperature dropped, the air felt thinner, like we'd driven into a vacuum. Just Ridge Hill, Marco said. It always feels weird up here. We parked under a cluster of old pine trees and hiked the last half mile to a clearing on the ridge. It overlooked a valley that felt too big for this part of the state. It was eerily silent, not a single bird. No crickets. Even the wind avoided the place. We pitched our tents, built a fire, and made a half-hearted attempt at roasting hot dogs. Marco had smuggled in a bottle of some awful cinnamon whiskey. Ryan passed around a joint he rolled with surgical precision. It should have been a great night. We told dumb stories at first. Bloody Mary, Goat Man, the usual campfire nonsense. Then Ryan got serious. He said, "You guys ever heard of Jonah Pierce?" Marco and I shook our heads. Disappeared from here in 1996. Junior at Eastwood High. Left school, never came home. They found his backpack 2 days later on the other side of the quarry, unzipped. Everything inside gone. Marco said it was probably a bear. No, Ryan said. There were no tracks. Not his, not animal, nothing. That's when he told us about the echoes. Supposedly, 2 kids heard something the night Jonah vanished, a humming sound, like the power lines were singing. But there were no lines nearby. They followed it to the quarry, and when they got close, the ground started to vibrate. One kid said it felt like the earth was breathing. Then they saw lights not in the sky. Under the dirt, they ran, never came back. People think it was aliens, Ryan said, but not the flying saucer kind. More like a place. Like the land here is thinner. What does that mean? I asked. Places like this, Ryan said, are doors. Not all the way open, not all the way shut, but something on the other side is watching. At that exact moment, the fire shifted. The flames dipped low, like someone had turned off the air. Then, out of the silence, came the humming. At first, it was just a feeling in the chest, a subsonic buzz, like standing near a subwoofer. Then, it grew not louder, but closer. The fire cracked once a loud, wet snap, the kind of sound bone makes. We turned our heads slowly. Near the tree line, the soil began to glow. Small at first, greenish, like bioluminescent algae. Then, more patches lines forming in the dirt, snaking between roots. And then the shapes began to move. It wasn't light. It was something alive, something swimming just below the surface. Ryan pulled out his flashlight. The beam flickered violently, then died. Marco's phone wouldn't turn on. Mine started vibrating not with a call, just constantly like it was detecting something it didn't understand. Then the ground began to ripple. Not shake, ripple, like the forest floor had turned to water. From it came a sound, a static-laced whisper. Fractured pattern. Sequence, contaminated, rewrite necessary. We all froze. I remember looking at Ryan. His mouth was open, but he wasn't speaking. Then Marco screamed. The ground split open a seam slicing through the clearing. Inside was black, bottomless. Marco backed away and fell, and the blackness moved toward him. Ryan and I grabbed his arms and pulled him, and all three of us bolted into the woods, not stopping until we reached the quarry fence. We hid behind a rotting maintenance shack. I couldn't hear anything but my own heartbeat. Then we heard it. A high-pitched whine, like radio feedback and metal dragging through teeth. And then it arrived. Not a ship. A being. Floating above the quarry pit, almost translucent. Like a jellyfish made of glass and smoke, its surface rippling with shifting eyes and mouths that opened but never spoke. From its base, long tendrils reached down into the quarry. I saw a figure in the pit, tall, thin, skin that shimmered like oil. It was holding something. Marco. But Marco was right beside me. I looked back and there he was, still crouched behind the shack. But another Marco was being lifted by the thing in the pit. It looked at me with dead eyes, mouth wide in silent horror. Then the tall being turned its head and looked at us, and we heard it. Redundant instance. Collapse authorized. The second Marco's body folded in on itself, like paper burning from the inside. Then everything exploded in white light. I woke up somewhere else. The sky was a matte gray. The trees were wrong, too symmetrical, repeating in patterns like printed wallpaper. There was no sound, just me and Ryan, lying on the ground in the same positions. Marco was gone. We wandered. The world stretched too far in every direction like a dream you can't wake up from. Eventually, we saw a doorway, freestanding. No walls, no frame, just a black door pulsing with green veins. Ryan said we had to go through, that it was the only way back. I hesitated. What if it's a trick? He looked at me, and I'll never forget what he said. It already knows your name. Then he stepped through. I didn't. I ran the opposite way, for what felt like hours. Eventually, everything turned white, and I woke up in my bed. My phone was at 3:33 a.m. All the clocks were blinking the same. Marco's contact was gone. Ryan's number was just a string of random characters. At school, no one remembered them. Not Marco, not Ryan, not even their families. I checked yearbooks, photos, nothing. It was like I had imagined them, like they'd been edited out of reality. But I didn't imagine the dirt under my fingernails, or the green burn mark on my shoulder that glows under blacklight. A few nights later, I got a letter, no return address. Inside was a Polaroid. It showed the clearing at Ridge Hill, and 3 shadows. One of them was mine. The other 2, I've never seen them before, but I swear they're getting closer in each new photo. Your sequence is stabilizing, the whisper says in my dreams. Return required. Full integration pending. And I think when the time comes, I won't be able to say no.